So spread sunshine all over the place. Just put on a happy face. Because it's time for another episode of It's Always Sunny in Hollywood. And if that isn't a reason to smile, then, I don't know, think of banana splits and licorice. You'll feel fine. My name is Patrick. I am one of your hosts, and with me is...
I'm Red. Drum arts.
And I'm
Cool.
Lugia, and damn, Patrick, you still got it in you after all these years.
Yes.
I wasn't the one. I wasn't the one who sang. The
I
song.
know,
Yeah.
but I know you sang it before.
I have sung it. We'll talk about that later. Yes, we're talking about Bye Bye Birdie today. In case you couldn't piece it together from Put on a Happy Face, but before we get into that, let's talk about some things that happened this week, and we got quite a few things to talk about.
Yeah. Actually, like when we were rewatching the movie, I completely forgot to Put on a Happy Face was from this. I was like, oh, I remember that. Yeah.
It's one of the most famous songs from.
Yeah. No, I was singing it in the show before we started.
Oh, cool.
Okay.
Anyway.
We're gonna start off with all the sad news first. Unfortunately, legendary rock musician Meatloaf died at age 74. Although I'm gonna admit the way he died was a little bit funny.
Dare I ask?
How so?
Okay, so basically, Meatloaf is anti-vax, and he basically said, "I'd rather die than be vaxxed," and then he died like a few days later. I'm like, you know what? That's kind of hilarious. I'm sorry.
He died on his own terms.
He did die on his own terms.
So Meatloaf would do anything for love, but he wouldn't get the vaccine.
Yes, I guess we found out what he wouldn't do. We found out what he wouldn't do. Okay. Louis Anderson also passed away, legendary comedian. He unfortunately died after a battle with blood cancer, leukemia. So rest in peace, Louis Anderson. Real shame because he was getting sort of a career renaissance as of late, but very funny man. And this one is, in my opinion, the saddest one. But Regina King, her son Ian Alexander Jr. has passed away at age 26 from suicide.
Oh,
nice.
So my heart goes out to Regina. My condolences for her. I wish her the best. Yeah. Anyway, and
we are 2022 is not off to a good start.
Late 2021 was also pretty bad.
This last 3 years have been kind of a rut, and honestly, the 4 years before that also.
Yeah.
So anyway, let's get into the regular news. So Microsoft
it's all uphill from here.
Not really. Microsoft is buying Activision Blizzard. Blizzard has recently been in a ton of controversy because of rampant sexual abuse. So hopefully, Microsoft buying them will.
Okay, we're still in that pit. Then we're not fully. Okay.
Now, hopefully, Microsoft buying them out will kind of like put a stop to that. But at the same time, this is just a monopoly that's getting bigger. Also, if you care about properties, Microsoft buying up more and more companies and not using them, who knows? So this could either be very good or very bad or both. Who knows?
So is Microsoft like becoming Disney, just buying out everything?
Yeah, I would say that. But the thing is, Microsoft is always like one of the most powerful companies ever.
They're one of the most richest companies in the world.
I mean, they created Windows. Like, their only competition is Apple, really. Like, there's Linux, but Linux is quite frankly a very niche market. So it's basically either Apple or your Windows, and like I'm Windows. Like I personally gave Bill Gates money, I guess. But yeah, I think Microsoft is trying to like get a stronger footing in the gaming industry because like outside of 360, they've always been kind of like second place. Even in 360, like they were like tied with PlayStation. They weren't like number one ever. I don't think they've ever been number one.
I know the Xbox, like, wasn't that like the weakest selling console of that generation?
I don't know. I think
the 360?
It did.
No,
the original
Xbox.
No, I thought the GameCube was.
Yeah, it did like comparable numbers to the GameCube. Like it was it around a GameCube were kind of close. PlayStation just completely blew both of them out of the water.
Yeah, PS2 is the console of the 6th generation.
Yeah, it's the best-selling video game console ever.
Yeah, I mean it was also like a very popular DVD player. Like I knew people that didn't even play games that had it. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I used it as a DVD player more than once.
Yeah, but I think Microsoft is definitely trying to get a stronger footing. Because Microsoft they did used to have like a strong footing somewhat because Halo is widely considered to be the greatest FPS franchise of all time, next to like Half-Life. It has one of the biggest juggernauts in this sort of like thing. But yeah. We're gonna talk about enough about Activision, Microsoft. Willem Dafoe wants to play Joker opposite Joaquin Phoenix. He wants to do like a dual Joker movie where like they both play Joker.
Really?
Yeah, I think that sounds like a fascinating idea because I know they're making a Joker too, and I have no idea how that movie is gonna be good. But I think that'd be a good idea. Have either of you seen Joker?
Well, I saw it with you.
Yeah, I know you guys saw it together, and you invited me, but I was busy with school stuff at the time.
Yeah.
I've
Have you seen
still
it
yet
since?
to see it. I've still yet to see it. I will see it though.
I have the
we've all
DVD if you
seen-
want to borrow it.
And we've all seen Spider-Man 1, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, then yeah. So you've already seen kind of like what a Willem Dafoe Joker, and two of us have seen like what a Joaquin Phoenix. So like I think that'd be a good dynamic, you know. Joker's got like a lot of sides to him because there's like the anarchy side that we saw like the Nolan movies, and there's the more comedian side, and then there's just like severe mental illness, which is like Joaquin Phoenix. So I feel like these two, and maybe if we could get like a third one in there, it'd be like an interesting thing. I know in the comics there was once a storyline where there were three Jokers.
Yes, the third one is going to be called Melvin.
Melvin, brother of the Joker. Yes. Okay, so that's our we got our Doug Walker reference done for the episode. Why don't you take this one, Lugia? Not Lugia, Patrick.
By all means. Okay, so guys, I'm sure you know I'm a big fan of Weird Al.
Who isn't?
Let's be real. And we got some exciting news this week. We're getting a Weird Al biopic. Hell yeah! But what's most fascinating about this is who's going to play Weird Al. Harry Potter himself, Daniel Radcliffe.
See,
That's interesting.
And I'm
here's
like,
the thing. That sounds like a
okay,
weird. That
what?
sound. Here's the thing. That sounds like a weird casting choice if you're only familiar with Harry Potter. But ever since Harry Potter, Daniel Radcliffe has had the most insane career. How do I put it? Daniel Radcliffe and Robert Pattinson have had very similar careers, and basically they were in this huge franchise where they made a bunch of money. Then after that, they just did the most insane shit. I highly recommend this one movie called Swiss Army Man, where Daniel Radcliffe plays a corpse, and that's it. The entire movie is just him like as a dead body, and like he's like a character. It's like Castaway, but like just a corpse. It's kind of hilarious. I recommend it. I don't know. There's also Guns Akimbo, which is like an action movie where he has guns nailed to his hands. Like somebody literally nailed guns to his hands. It's crazy. Yeah, he's got a very odd career. So I could see this work.
Sorry to interrupt. There's a little bit more to the story actually, aside from Daniel Radcliffe. Apparently, this movie is going to be a Roku original because they're trying to get more content out.
Oh, that could be
So-
interesting.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people that have Roku, so yeah, that could probably be good for them.
Yeah. I don't have Roku. I'd probably get it just to watch this though.
Yeah, I wonder if it's gonna be like comedic.
I don't
That'd
know.
be interesting. Like, I wonder if it's gonna be like a serious biopic, or it's gonna be like Walk Hard, where it's like kind of a goof.
Given that the subject matter is Weird Al, I feel like it would be comedic.
Yeah, like I'm
Probably.
thinking like maybe this would be like Walk Hard or like Man on the Moon, where it's like a comedy, like it's like almost a parody. Oh, that'd be a good idea. A parody of biopics with Weird Al, the parody guy. Oh, that'd be genius. Yeah, I hope
yeah.
it's that.
Yeah.
Okay. So How I Met Your Father came out the other week. I know, Patrick, you're a How I Met Your Mother fan, right?
I'm a huge fan of How I Met Your Mother.
Yes. I also like the series quite a bit, which is odd because I'm not a big laugh track guy, but I thought it was pretty funny. So How I Met Your Father came out. I saw a little bit of it. Hilary Duff is playing the mother that's
Really?
telling the story. Yes.
Lizzie McGuire.
Yes, Lizzie McGuire. What I
How
find
about
interesting
that?
though is so they how the framing device is them telling the story to their kids, right?
Mhm.
So what happened here is that instead of showing the kids the story is being told to, they actually show the older mother,
Huh.
and they're not showing the kids. So I'm guessing that maybe like them showing the kids might like reveal what it is because one, unlike How I Met Your Mother, this cast is very racially diverse.
Yeah, I know this has no connection to the original series. It's just
That's
the
not
title.
true.
That's what?
That's not true.
I thought it was a completely different cast with no relation.
It was a completely different cast with no relation, but it is connected to the original.
Oh.
The main characters, at the end of the episode, it reveals that they have bought Marshall and Lily's old apartment. You know, the apartment from the original series. They all live in
Oh.
that original apartment. That's
Huh.
pretty cool. Yeah. I'm guessing maybe this could be used as like a vehicle to maybe get some cameos in later down the line. Who knows?
I don't know.
But yeah, they even got the swords on the wall.
Holy crap.
Yep. So yeah, the show isn't very funny, but it's charming. I'm sure it could have some legs on it. Who knows? Anyway, we've all seen Encanto because we all saw it together, right? I didn't hallucinate that, right?
What are
No,
you
it
talking
happened.
about?
It happened.
Okay. So we don't talk about Bruno has become one of Disney's biggest hits. It is actually charted as of right now. It's charting higher than Let It Go, and I believe it's on par with Colors of the Wind. I think Colors of the Wind is actually the highest charting Disney song. But yeah, we don't talk about
Really?
Bruno. Is
Huh.
has become a huge breakout hit for them, which I find interesting because box office wise, the movie didn't do well, but once it released on Disney Plus, it started doing like crazy numbers, I guess.
I've
So
said this before. I've said this before, but I'll say it again. Everybody is talking about we don't talk about Bruno, and I'm just in the corner jamming out to Surface Pressure.
yeah. Well, actually, believe it or not, Surface Pressure is like the second highest charting song from Bruno.
Rightfully so, because
a lot of people
Yeah.
slaps.
people are rocking on that one too. Yeah, but currently we don't talk about Bruno is number 4, which I believe Let It Go was like number 5 or something. Who knows? Yeah, Surface Pressure is it is number 14 on the Hot 100, so it's in the top 20. So yeah,
Lugia,
this
why don't you take this one?
All
yeah, why don't you
right.
take?
Things are about to get a little NSFW up in here. So Tifa Lockhart from Final Fantasy VII has beaten out Mario as the world's #1 recognizable Italian.
I'm sorry, what?
That's a joke. Here's the reason
Okay.
why. So there was a Zoom meeting for the Italian Senate, and
Okay.
someone put Final Fantasy VII porn of Tifa having sex with Cloud for like 30 seconds until the Senate realized what was going on and had to
What?
kick the user out. This was real.
What?
It's in the
What?
newspapers.
What?
So basically,
I have heard nothing. What?
okay.
That's why
So-
Tifa Lockhart is trending every day now.
So a dude, like some troll managed to get into this like government official meeting, and the second he did, he started playing like this weird audio where he was like screaming, "I'm a sex offender and I'm a kindergarten teacher," or some shit like that. And then he was playing Final Fantasy porn. And the funniest part is that like it took them so long to take it down, and when they finally took it down, the audio was still playing, and him screaming like the sex offender shit. So I'm like, I laughed my ass. It's like incredibly funny that like, oh my god.
I'm sorry. I need like 2 hours to process this because I don't. What? How? What? What?
Take your time.
I'm gonna need a lot more time than this podcast will allow.
Yeah.
Remember last year when everybody was laughing at a guy having a cat filter on a Zoom meeting?
Anyway, live action Aristocats is coming out. Looks like Disney is finally running out of ideas and scraping the bottom of the barrel.
You mean Aristocats?
Yes.
Yeah. Actually,
I wonder
Aristocats was one of the Disney movies I remember watching a lot when I was younger. It wasn't the one I watched the most, but it was one of them.
I
know
have
saw
never
it,
seen it
but
before.
I remember nothing about it except the racism. The only thing I remember about the Aristocats is the racism.
A lot of people nowadays like don't really think highly of the Aristocats.
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess they find it pretty
Yeah.
lackluster. I don't know. It's been a while since I've seen it. I do remember liking it as a kid, though.
Yeah, I do find it interesting how they're gonna try to write around the Siamese cats things because, like, despite being
that's Lady and the Tramp.
what?
The Siamese cats are Lady and the Tramp. In the Aristocats, there's like a Chinese cat who like uses chopsticks to play the piano.
Oh yeah, okay,
that's
whatever.
that's the racist imagery.
God
in the
damn,
movie.
why do they have so much like Chinese cat racism in Disney movies? Good lord.
I don't know. It was a different time.
It was a different time, but like, at least like the other racisms, like there was.
I
a
don't
reason
support
for
it. I just say it was. Never mind. I don't want to get into this.
I know. I'm just like I don't know. Like the anti-Japanese racism in the World War II cartoons was because of World War II. Like what beef did we have with China?
Actually, yeah, Aristocats was early 70s, so This was
What?
way past the war. What was going on?
Walt, you
Yeah,
have a lot of explaining to do in your grave.
Yeah, we had Vietnam, but Vietnam is in China. Like again, I don't know what's going on there. Whatever. Anyway, last
I
bit of
don't-
news: they redesigned the green Eminem to be less sexy. They got rid of her go-go boots and gave her sneakers. That's not going to
Hmm.
stop anybody. People on Twitter are freaks. I've already seen some unholy stuff on my timeline. Anyway,
Um, this is probably a dumb question, but what about the brown M&M?
the brown M&M, I think they changed her stilettos to like just regular wedge heels.
Uh-huh.
They also said they're gonna give a slight change up to the personalities. Red's gonna be a little bit less bossy, and Orange is gonna acknowledge his anxiety more. Anyway, this is all incredibly stupid, very hollow progressiveness, and it's all used to disguise the fact that currently Mars is getting sued because they use child slavery. This is all just a massive PR smoke screen.
You know,
So,
remember when I said after we went over the recent celebrity deaths? Remember I said it's only uphill from here? I was way wrong. We just keep digging deeper.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's just talk about the movie then. So, Bye Bye
Okay.
Birdie.
All right, we're
Bye,
we're
Birdie.
past all
Okay.
this now.
Yes, now, much like a bird, we're actually going to be going up from here. You know, because birds fly.
I'm like a bird. I'm gonna fly away. I don't know where
Okay.
my soul is.
Bye Bye Birdie is based on the Broadway musical of the same name that came out on Broadway in 1960, and the movie released 3 years later in 1963. It was directed by George Sidney, who directed several other movie musicals, including Anchors Away, Kiss Me Kate, Annie Get Your Gun, and Showboat. But,
Anything he made that's like famous?
well, Anchors Away is famous for being the movie where Gene Kelly dances with Jerry the Mouse.
Oh, okay. Oh, he also
Yeah.
did one of the earlier Three Musketeer adaptations. Interesting.
Mhm.
Cool.
Yeah. Among the cast, we have Dick Van Dyke in his feature film debut, actually. Janet Leigh, Anne Margaret, Paul Lynn, Jess Pearson, Bobby Rydell, Maureen Stapleton, and Ed Sullivan as himself. And actually, among the cast, should be noted that Dick Van Dyke and Paul Lynn are the only ones who also appeared in the Broadway show, reprising their roles in this movie. And this is also known for being the movie that really launched Anne Margaret's career. And I find it funny how the two movies she's most well known for both have ties to Elvis. This being a parody of Elvis, and Viva Las Vegas, where she actually appeared with Elvis.
Hold on. Her most iconic movie is obviously the Santa Claus 3, The Escape Clause.
Who is she in that?
I don't know, but she's got a credit on it. Let me check.
All right,
And
I've not seen Santa Claus.
she
I've
plays
seen
Sylvia
the first Santa
Newman.
Claus and I've seen the second. I remember more from the
Something.
second though, for some reason.
I think
she
I
played-
remember the first one.
But the
plays
basic plot of
Sylvia
the
New-
first one.
The basic plot of the first one is basically On a Pale Horse mixed with like a legal drama. So On a Pale Horse is a story about someone who kills death and then becomes death. So the Santa Claus is about a man who murders Santa Claus accidentally and then becomes Santa Claus. And also
I remember the plot. I just
and also everything is about a very ugly divorce, which is incredibly funny. That this is what the kids' movie is based off of. Anyway, whatever.
I haven't
Who cares
seen the
about
Santa Claus in years, so
it? Back to Bye Bye Birdie.
back to Bye Bye Birdie. Yeah. Some interesting facts to note about the film's production history is that the opening and closing scene with Anne Margaret, where she's singing "Bye Bye Birdie," that was all shot a few months after filming had completed. But the director George Sidney was so impressed by Anne Margaret that he wanted the movie to open and close with her singing. But the producers wouldn't give him more money for it, so he paid out of his own pocket for the scenes to be done.
I guess that's why the background is all blue.
Yeah, because they didn't have money to add in they wanted to add like a newspaper effect, because in the trailer for the movie, she's singing against a backdrop of newspapers, but in the movie it's just blue. I guess, to symbolize she's sad that Conrad's going off into the army.
I don't know, she
Huh.
seemed pretty happy about it.
Wait, so they could afford to do it in the trailer, but they couldn't afford to do it in the actual? Okay, whatever.
I don't know, but that's just what I read. Something else interesting is, have you guys noticed throughout the backgrounds there are several Hanna-Barbera characters as plush dolls and on merchandise?
The people love
I
Tom and
think
Jerry.
so.
No, in Kim's room, there are plushes of Fred Flintstone and Barney Rubble. At one point, the little brother is wearing a shirt with Huckleberry Hound on it, and there's even Yogi Bear on a record. At one point.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
There's
okay.
there's a reason for that. George
Did they
Sidney
fund it?
was very good friends with Will Hanna and Joseph Barbera, and he helped them form their animation studio.
Ah,
Nice.
Yeah, but I guess Hanna-Barbera Sidney doesn't roll off the tongue as much as Hanna-Barbera does.
yep.
Also, I'm sure you guys probably could tell the Courthouse Steps, where Honestly Sincere happens, is the same building as Back to the Future.
Yep. You look
Mhm.
familiar.
Yeah, same building.
Yeah, they're both in
I-
the 50s.
It's in the Universal backlot. I toured it before. Pretty cool. This movie received 2 Oscar nominations, being Best Score and Best Sound Editing. Didn't win either of them, but pretty cool. That's all I got. In years since, this movie has, again, been known as the movie that really launched Dan Margaret's career.
And I guess Dick
and
Van
this-
Dyke's too.
Yeah, well, actually, Dick Van Dyke, his career started with the Broadway show, because, again, he was
Oh,
in
no.
the original Broadway show. So, yeah, this movie,
So the Broadway show
could-
came out first.
Yes.
yeah, the Broadway show was first. So, I know a lot of people, there are people who love Bye Bye Birdie, there are people who hate it. I think we can all at least come together to be thankful for this show for launching the career of these 2 people.
Yep.
Before we actually get into, the real nitty-gritty of our opinions, I just want to talk for a minute about our experiences with Bye Bye Birdie, because we've all seen the show before. We know what it is.
In some
right?
form.
In some form. Okay, so, Red, you know this. In high school, we did this show.
Yep.
I was in it, and Lugia worked stage crew on it, and you came to see it.
Yep. So that's the experience.
Yeah.
Patrick was an actor. Lugia was stage crew, and I was just an audience member. There's nothing. That's it.
Well, actually, stage
So-
crew is a little general. I just managed Spotlight. But I mean,
Well, that's still...
It counts.
Out of
Yeah,
all the
it
parts
totally
of stage
counts.
crew, you're the one that got to actually see it from like the front view.
I just want to ask you guys, Red, what do you remember of the stage show?
Elvis.
Pretty much, okay.
Yeah.
Lugia, what was your experience working the Spotlight?
The Spotlight itself was very hot. It hurt my hands, and I couldn't get gloves. But for the actual show itself, primarily my experience was just trying to memorize which scenes required the Spotlight. So I would use like musical numbers as a cue, because those typically would have it. And thus some of those musical numbers were burned into my brain. How about you?
What about
For
you
me-
being on the stage?
Yes, Bye Bye Birdie was one of the first shows I ever did. Wasn't the first. It was, I believe, my 4th. I had a blast, honestly. I think this is such a fun show. One of the most fun shows I've ever done.
I think that was actually one of the better shows that we did.
Really?
Or at least in my opinion, like the second best one. Because we also
What
did
would you-
Drowsy Chaperone, and I think that was the best one that we did.
That was also a great show. But yeah, like I said, there are people who love Bye Bye Birdie. There are people who hate it. I love it. Again, I might probably be biased, but going back to the beginning of the episode, Lugia, you said I still got it when I was singing.
Oh yeah.
Let me just put it out there to the audience. I was not Albert. Albert's the one who put on a happy face. I was not Albert. I was the mayor who gives Conrad the key to the city, or at least tries to. I just wanted to put out we're all familiar with Bye Bye Birdie. Okay, so and I just wanted to put this out there. Red, you said the only thing you remember was Elvis.
Yeah.
After watching the movie, did anything like jog your memory?
The songs I mostly remembered like a majority of the songs.
Okay, the reason I ask is because the movie Bye Bye Birdie is actually very different from the stage show.
Yeah, the ending was pretty
Yeah.
different from what I remember.
Yeah, it
Okay.
Everything,
that's
well,
the thing. The ending, I was like, well, I don't remember this at all.
and I
but
don't
Okay.
remember Albert being a scientist or a chemist.
Okay. All right. So the basic plot is the same as the Broadway show, where a rock star named Conrad Birdie is being drafted into the army. But before he goes, he is set to give a special farewell kiss to a lucky fan on television. Chaos
Yep.
ensues. That's the basic plot.
Yeah,
but
I remember
the
like there
the
being like a
structure.
longer. No, I remember
I'm just gonna
like
say
some.
the structure is very different. It basically the movie primarily adapts the first act of the show with elements of the second act thrown in. So basically, 1/3 of the original show is missing.
Wasn't there a
Explain the two
subplot
plots.
where Rosie wanted to be an English teacher? Or am I confusing that with a different play?
No. In the stage show, Albert is an aspiring English teacher. But
Oh.
in the movie, they changed him to a biochemist, which is a weird change. I mean, it works in terms of like what it demands in terms of the story, but it's still weird.
So you're gonna
So yeah,
explain the two plots, or
well, basically, the big conflict in the movie is that they're trying to get Conrad on the Ed Sullivan Show, but there's a Russian ballet that's taking up way too much time, and so Conrad doesn't really have time to do anything except kind of go on stage and take a bow. And they're trying to figure out a way they can get more screen time, but the Russian ballet is very insistent. No, we can't cut any of this. Can we just talk about the inclusion of the Russian ballet for a second?
What
I
you
want
gotta
to
say?
know I want to know what the meeting was like that made them decide, okay, Russian ballet. That's the main conflict.
This is art.
Because
hey,
that
hey,
there
maybe
was
it's a metaphor for the Cold War.
maybe
which
there was
going on at the
nothing
time.
of the Russian ballet is entirely unique to the movie. Because in the stage play, the Ed Sullivan thing, that's all the first act. Like this first act ends with them being on the Ed Sullivan Show and that going wrong. But they managed to get a spot on the Ed Sullivan Show with no issue. It's just they say we're gonna get him on the Ed Sullivan Show, and they do. But yeah, this movie makes several changes from the stage show. Some of them I am kind of baffled by, but honestly, there are others where I'm like, I think this actually works better.
Okay, which ones did you like more?
Actually, I feel like I'm doing most of the talking.
That's fine. We're gonna say our opinions.
Okay.
It's just we don't remember a lot.
Yeah.
Remember? Okay. One of the changes I really like is the song "One Boy." In the movie, it's a duet between Kim and Hugo, whereas in the stage play, it was just Kim singing.
Oh.
I actually think that's really cute. I think that's a really nice way to do the song because it shows them as a couple.
Yeah.
I'm sure. I mean, you could do that in the stage show if you have some really creative direction, because Hugo doesn't sing at all in the stage show. But here, I think the duet between them is really cute.
Yeah, the guy's a good singer, so I guess they wanted to like show him off a little bit,
Um,
you know?
Also, I think the ending of the movie, I think the ending is a bit better than the stage show, kind of,
How did the
because
stage show end?
the stage show ended with Conrad and May, Albert's mother, are put on a train off to the army. Well, the reason why Albert's mother was there is because Albert wanted her out of his life. So he tricks her into getting on the train and then they leave off.
I forgot
And then-
about that.
And then Albert proposes to Rosie. But in the movie, because they switch things around, the movie ends right after the Ed Sullivan broadcast. And Albert's mother comes to terms with, she comes to accept Albert and Rosie's relationship because throughout the movie, she does not approve of this. And in the stage show, this was also a thing, but the way they handled it in the stage show is that Albert's mother was very racist.
Oh. Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Bye Bye Birdie, this is very much a product of its time.
Yeah. But I thought it was gonna be like the fun product of his time, you know, the like Back to the Future making fun of the 50s, and Peggy Sue Got Married made fun of the 50s.
But yeah, so in the movie, okay, she is mean in the movie, but I wouldn't say she's racist. She's just
Yeah, she's just kind of an asshole.
Yeah.
yeah.
She's just like the stereotypical like mother-in-law parody.
Yeah. Yeah, but in
Like,
the
oh,
movie,
that
in the movie she accepts their relationship. And I
Yep.
think that's a bit of a more satisfying conclusion to how everything was.
Yeah, I agree.
So I
It's
think I do
weird
like
because I think the Rosie and Albert arc in the movie works with how that ends. I don't think Conrad's does.
Yeah, that's
yeah,
the thing. I was surprised by how little Conrad was in this because I remember him the most from the stage play. So I was like, man, was Conrad like in the play more?
yes, he was.
He
But
was.
he was in it more in Act 2, but again, since Act 2 was kind of neutered and just Various parts were
Yeah,
put
the last
into
thing that
this
happens
movie.
to Conrad in the movie is that he gets decked in the face.
Yeah, that's the one thing about the ending that I really don't dig, is that after Conrad gets decked in the face, you never see him again, and there's no repercussions for Hugo because of it. Because in the stage play, that starts the main conflict of Act 2, where Kim is mad at Hugo and Albert's mad at Rosie. But here, Conrad decks Hugo in the face, and the next scene, they're singing together happily.
I saved the day. Prevented myself from getting cucked by Elvis Presley.
Yes.
Okay,
So,
I've been doing a lot of
Did they cut any songs from here? How many songs
Yeah,
did they cut? Because they had to cut a lot if they cut out that much from the story.
the songs they left are the most famous songs from the show, but the ones they cut out were the opening song and English Teacher, which they had to cut.
They dropped that
yeah.
entire subplot.
I'm a biochemist.
Yeah, yeah, and let's be real, a science teacher doesn't roll off the tongue like an English teacher does.
Yeah.
There's a song, Healthy Normal American Boy. What Did I Ever See in Him?
I think they kept all of Conrad's songs, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, they kept all of Conrad's songs. And Spanish Rose. Those are the songs they cut. I feel like I've been doing most of the talking.
That's
You
fine,
guys
okay.
you guys talk.
So yeah, I kind of found it funny that even though he's clearly a parody of Elvis Presley, his name is a parody of Conway Twitty. But yeah, I really like the music. That was like the main part that clicked with me, like from the get go. And like I just want to emphasize that because the last music we talked about, well, what was it, Anna and the Apocalypse?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I did not like the music in that one. This one, I like the music quite a bit. So yeah, and I'd say that's definitely the strongest thing. It did feel very 50s. Obviously, I never lived in the 50s, but based on like accounts, documentaries, and like other movies about the 50s, I was like, oh yeah, okay, 50s. I like the little character arcs, the main romances. Obviously, I think Dick Van Dyke and who was the person that played opposite to Dick Van Dyke?
Janet Leigh.
Janet Leigh. I think they're the show steers. They're my favorite characters. The parents were kind of funny, but like I felt the dad's voice got a little bit like annoying a little bit.
Yeah.
Like, oh boy,
I'm going to be on the Ed Sullivan Show.
Oh. Like I feel like I've seen like him parodied in The Simpsons or like I don't know, Family Guy, one of those shows.
Well, you know, he's the typical dad. He's the typical 50s sitcom dad.
Yeah, the thing that I remember most about him was just like, oh, you can't, I don't want that birdie around my daughter. Oh boy, I love Ed Sullivan. And also when he just randomly said, I don't fuck with midgets at one point, I was like, hey, whoa. That just like, at one point he was just like, I don't like midgets. Like he was talking about, you don't remember? He was like, he was like, oh, I know these showbiz people. I worked at a circus. Those midgets. I was like, it just threw me off so much. I wrote it in my notes. It's like, whoa, where did that come from?
I didn't realize that.
No,
nor did I.
He said that's why he doesn't like showbiz people, because he worked at a circus and he didn't like the midgets there. And I was like, what the hell? Where did that come from?
Okay, I don't know.
Yeah. I thought the boyfriend was funny. The boyfriend was really funny.
Hugo.
Yeah,
actually, one of my favorite lines in the movie is after he's done talking with Kim about like how he doesn't want her to kiss Conrad, but then he's cool with it. He's talking to the other guys, and he's like, she knows where I stand. Yeah, but she's walking away. Yeah, but that's only to make the population explode.
Exactly. All right, what about you, Lugia?
Okay, so having worked as a part of the stage production before, my opinion of this movie is very, very subjective, but in terms of the music, it was kind of like a Russian nostalgia, not gonna lie. Because I do remember liking a lot of the musical numbers, especially Put on a Happy Face. I forgot how good that was.
No, I was just gonna say, I really like how, like, we said this movie is very of its time, but the fact that the music is of its time too, like, that's a compliment to me, because, like, you know what, the 50s, good shit there.
Mm-hmm.
I also found it interesting how different this was from the stage production. So to me, at least, it felt fresh rather than just like the same thing that I've seen before.
Yeah.
Even if I think some of the changes aren't great, or at least aren't better than the stage production, it was still interesting. Although, I know this was also in the stage production. What the fuck was that secret Fez society about?
I kind of like that part. It's
Yeah,
so stupid, but I liked it.
that was in the stage show. I think that's just like to show how out of hand things were getting. Because that was kind of like the tipping point for Rosie in the show where she's like, "Oh shit, I need Albert. Like I can't do this by myself." But
Yeah,
I guess because it's one of the most famous scenes, they had to keep it in the movie. I'm cool with it because the movie's silly. The movie's
yeah,
very silly, and this does stay true to the spirit of how silly it is.
yeah. Rosie and Albert were definitely like the show stealers for me. They were my
Mhm.
favorite by far. I can definitely see why their careers were very strong after this. You know, everyone knows Dick Van Dyke, and who'd you say the other one was? Janet Leigh.
Janet
Yeah,
Leigh.
Janet Leigh. You know, she's in Psycho, Manchurian Candidate. She's a great actor, great actress.
Actually, another change I do like
Although
from
this
the
came
stage
out after Psycho, so
another change I do like from the stage show is that they agree to have the McAfees appear on the Ed Sullivan Show out of desperation. Because the father's like, I don't want her on the show, but they say, "Oh, you're gonna be on the show." But Albert's like, "Wait, what?" And she's like, "Yes." He's like, "Oh, yes, of course, you're gonna be on the show, and Kim's gonna be on the show." Because in the stage show, that was I just hit my desk. In the stage show, that was kind of the plan from the get go.
I
But
like
here they do it out of desperation.
I like the gag where it's like, all right, he only gets 20 seconds. It's like, oh, and the mayor, we were gonna have to take away 10 seconds from him. So they got like 10 seconds each. I'm like, oh, that's kind of funny.
It was also funny how Harry convinces the mayor to do it by letting him have a spot, even though that doesn't go anywhere. That
Yeah,
never comes back up again, except for that little gag. It's still funny though.
yeah. So I guess overall, I'd say good music, solidly funny, and it looked very good. I like how it was shot. You know, very pretty.
There were a couple
Um,
weird jump cuts, and I think the audio dubbing was a bit off. But at the same
Yeah.
time, this
Yeah.
was the '60s.
the editing wasn't the best, but good music, solidly funny, good performances, well shot. I had a fun time. Didn't blow my mind. It's not like Singing in the Rain where I was like, oh no, that's what a picture. But like it was fun. 7 out of 10.
Yeah.
I'd give it a 7. Yeah, 7. 7.
I'd give it an 8. Although that, again, my opinion is very, very subjective, seeing as how I did help with the stage production, or at least for our high school.
Yeah.
But it brought back some memories, and I feel like I would watch this movie again just because of that.
It's
much
definitely
as you
firmly in
did.
the good category.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
How about you,
I'm
Patrick?
surprised. I was not. I think this. I really enjoyed myself with this movie. It's again. I probably have that bias like you because I worked on the show.
Well, you also acted in it, so it's more
Yeah.
important to you.
Yeah, I know. So this does hit that sweet spot. It is definitely an uneven movie, and there are a lot of weird changes from the show. Some that I don't agree with, some that I think work for the better. Overall, yeah, this is a really fun time. It is a silly movie, but it's my type of
The
silly.
heart of the play is still in there. Like, it's still
Oh,
Bye
yeah.
Bye Birdie through and through, just a little different.
Mm-hmm.
I do find it funny how it seems like audiences were a lot more middling to this because, like, I looked at Rotten Tomatoes. Rotten Tomatoes, 89% from critics, they loved it. Audiences only 66%, and then I looked at IMDb, it's also 6.6. Then I look at Letterboxd, and it's 3.3. I'm like, man, this is the most 6.6 out of movie ever made, huh? This is a movie where like everyone just like across all platforms is like, you know what? 66 out of 100. Just like, okay, it's a 66 movie. Anyway, recommendations. Obviously, the rest of the Dick trilogy,
Mm-hmm.
the Dick Van Dyke trilogy. I shouldn't
The
have said Dick trilogy.
unofficial Dick Van Dyke '60s musical trilogy.
Yep. I have not seen Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, but I think Mary Poppins is a masterpiece. I fucking love that movie.
As I said before, we're gonna get to the two other movies at some point.
Yeah. I'd recommend Hairspray. I feel like Hairspray had some like similar vibes to this kind of like the movie specifically, not necessarily the play, but the movie. Hairspray kind of gave some similar vibes, you know. Sing in the Rain, you know, just production wise, it was kind of similar. I'd also recommend Peggy Sue Got Married in Back to the Future, just for the 50s thing. More of like a retrospective look on the 50s, but still, I liked it. My
I don't-
recommendation, right?
Now, Patrick.
Actually, I have two other
Go on,
things
go on.
I wanted to say.
Yes.
I'd say if you like this movie, check out Viva Las Vegas, which also stars Anne Margaret.
And
again,
has
Elvis
actual
Presley.
Elvis Presley in it.
Yes, and same director, George Sidney.
Ah, fast.
Yeah, and if this movie didn't tickle your fancy and you want a more accurate direct-to-screen adaptation of the play. There is a made-for-television movie, actually starring Jason Alexander and Vanessa Williams.
Yo, George Costanza, hell
Yeah, yeah.
The GOAT,
that
greatest actor of all time.
that movie is much more accurate to how the stage show was, but I kind of prefer this version more. I don't know. This one's more silly. But again, if you want Bye Birdie, the stage show on film, then that's your best bet.
Now,
God, it's so
Patrick,
weird. It's so
when are we
weird
gonna
seeing
do the
Jason
drowsy
Alexander.
chaperone?
There's no movie adaptation of that.
Fuck.
God, I looked up the 95 thing. It's so weird seeing Jason Alexander with the full head of hair. What in the what the fuck? Okay.
All right, so yeah, I've been doing enough talking this round. Red, your turn.
All right. So I was thinking we haven't done a lot of action lately, and I haven't recommended like any action movies. I'm pretty sure. So I was like, all right, I'm definitely gonna do that. So I decided to do one of the greatest working directors, very similar to Scorsese in a way, Michael Mann. Michael Mann, and I decided to just go for his most popular movie, Heat. So we're gonna be watching Heat by Michael Mann, the '90s movie starring Robert De Niro, Val Kilmer, Al Pacino. Classic, one of the greatest movies of all time. Have both of you seen The Dark Knight?
Yes. Or at least
A
I
long
have.
time ago. A long time ago.
All right. This movie was like the biggest inspiration to the Dark Knight, so just maybe keep that in mind when you're watching this. But yeah, Heat.
But it's winter. That's why we need
Yeah.
heat.
Yeah, that's why we need Heat. Also, fuck, how did I forget to put this in the news? Because it's relevant. Michael Mann's making Heat 2. It got announced. He's making a book, Heat 2. It's going to be structured very similar to the Godfather Part 2, where it's a prequel and a sequel.
Dang, this is a long movie.
It is? I didn't look at the runtime.
170 minutes.
Oh, yeah, 2
Wow.
hours and 45 minutes. Okay, well, I mean, come on, Pulp Fiction was like about that long. Yeah, but while considered to be one of the greatest action movies of all time, Michael Mann's one of the greatest directors of all time. He's widely believed to have never made a bad movie, Michael Mann. Like, some of his recent movies, people were more mixed on, but they've, recently become cult classics. So, yeah, one of the greatest directors. I noticed we didn't talk about him. Yeah, so, Heat.
Sounds like it would be a good time.
Yeah.
This has been It's Always Sunny in Hollywood. We gotta sign off, because we got a lot of living to do. Those were not the right notes, but you know what I mean.